wasn't sure if it was gonna work or not, but
Yeah.
whatever. It happens. We're still figuring the marketing out. If someone is that worried about something like that, they're probably not my ideal client.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I was live today and somebody uh was like, "What are you?" Like, "What? What gender are you?" I'm like, "If that is your first concern with everything that I am talking about right now, then this probably isn't the live for you."
Yeah.
Like, if that is what matters to you right now, then you might want to go somewhere else because that's not what we're talking about. I
Yeah.
was like, "I'm an
Just say my
alien. Thank you very much."
my pronouns are she, her, they. Yeah. Just mix it up.
Yeah. Oh, I like to just come up with something off the wall. I love using I'm an alien because I have blue hair. So I'm like, guys, I'm an alien. What else would you expect me to be? I've got blue hair.
Yeah. Okay, I did get
All right. When Miranda gets back, let me go say something to my kids one more time about being quiet.
okay.
They're playing games with each other. They're getting along really wonderfully, but they get loud when they play.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Hey, babies. Please remember doing this, so try not to get too loud. Thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and start the recording.
There we go.
Right.
Hello. I'm going to give a few minutes for people to come on.
Mhm.
No
Great idea.
problem. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, and
not
I'm
in a
also going to
rush.
start this live stream in my group.
Annabelle
Mhm.
has my phone today, so I'm not going to be live streaming from my phone while you're talking this time. But her phone broke, so now mommy is doomed to go without a phone half the time. Luckily, I'm usually on the laptop.
Hmm. How did I figure this out yesterday? Live.
And this hair is annoying me.
All right. I am just going to rinse my fingers really quick. I just had something to eat. And then hopefully, I mean, I don't want to let this go and like lag too long, but I also, it's only 2 minutes after. So I don't want to like
Yeah.
Yeah,
get
No,
started and
definitely.
then have a bunch of people show up.
yeah. Then be like, oh, now I want to recap everything. That's what happens to me when I'm live all the time. I like finally really get going and then people start watching and I'm like, man, y'all missed all the good shit. I was about to get off now. I don't know what's going on. Like my blurring the screen thing is doing way worse today. I don't like this. It's like it keeps blurring me. I don't know.
That would be so much easier. Here you
I think my room is like you can see Sean's clothes over there. That's why I started blurring it because I actually love my wall, but there's a shelf over there that Sean keeps his clothes folded on. So I was like, maybe I should start blurring this. Because then there's also sometimes the tile on top of the drawers because they don't have a top to them.
go.
So yeah, you get blurred screen me now, but
Well, if I hadn't have hung up all these diplomas, you would get my other backdrop. So
yeah. Yeah, I really like the diplomas. That looks really good. And now you're not trying to like block off your screen to frame that and everything. So it
yeah.
works.
Hey,
Okay, ready? Going live.
I think I'm also going live. Hello,
Awesome.
hello, everybody, and welcome to, excuse me, day 2. As I blow my nose, sorry about that. And my camera's going the wrong way on my live stream. Here we go. Finally. So, yesterday I did a little intro to feeling into different parts of your body, having some agency and some choice about where and how you respond to things, how you can stop and align with more authentic responses rather than patterned responses. And Darlene talked to us about our inner parts and the protectors and some of the feelings that we encounter that we form patterns to avoid feeling. And then Sammy came on and led us through an exercise that I actually found lots of value in, got lots of aha moments and a big epiphany through that. So I hope you all, if you didn't watch the replay, please do. There's lots of good nuggets in there. Today, day 2, I'm going to take you a little bit deeper. Today, we realize we have a lot more time. We kind of went so quick yesterday, and there is much more time to work with here. So I'm going to take you much deeper and to kind of explore where you started to be inauthentic and kind of why. And then, also just exploring like what it looked like, what it looks like now. So I'm just going to get started with my piece. And I'm going to just go back and remind you again of a little bit of what I was talking about the antennas yesterday and how in childhood we have our antennas pointed outward and we're always on high alert about what everybody else's mood is, what everybody else's needs are, so that we can make ourselves acceptable in the room with those people. It's how we learn to mask. And I want to go a little bit deeper into that concept because if you start to look at obviously why those antennas are up, right? Protection of you. But it really, really goes much, much deeper. As a human who is designed to be in community and with people, if you are not accepted by the people around you, like way back in caveman's terms, if you were not accepted by your community or your people, you would die. Like, it's not just like, oh my God, I'm going to feel shame or oh, I'm going to feel this. It's like, if you don't belong to your people, who's going to take care of you? Who's going to feed you? Who's going to change you? Who's going to keep you? I mean, whatever, maybe they don't keep you safe, but it's what you think that they're supposed to do. So it really gets down to the live or die. Like if I am not accepted here, I literally could die. But more importantly, if you actually talk to people now, about these things, and you'll say, why is this a problem? And you keep going down. Why? But why? But why? If people will literally say, well, if I didn't have any friends and I didn't have anybody and I didn't have anything, then I think I would want to die. I don't even think I would want to be here if I had to be all alone. So it really is a huge, huge undertaking for people to be here. And this is why they mask, to belong, to feel like they want to live, to feel like they want to be a part of the community and a part of life. I'm sorry, I've got 3 animals behind me, 2 cats and a dog, and I've got a dog whining and cats. I think that the dog wants to come in here, and I've got 2 cats guarding the room so that she can't come in. Sorry, I'm distracted by that.
We don't hear them, but I can see the tail.
um, So obviously we have the benefits of protection, right? Like we mask to keep ourselves protected, to keep ourselves being liked, being accepted by people in our community, in our family, in our circle. But when we mask to stay there, we end up losing ourselves and not knowing who we are anymore. And the people around us don't actually truly know us. And so the relationships that we have can't be all the way true if we're not all the way true, right? So in order to not mask, one must first figure out what it is that they need. What are we masking for? What need are we pretending like we don't have? And how can we actually meet that need on our own? That's how we become like self-actualized. And I think part of needing other people is to get our needs met by them, right? Like we pretend to be something that we're not. We don't voice our actual needs. We take the crumbs that they give us. But when we can start to meet our own needs, the need for keeping somebody in our lives or the need for the masking goes away. When you can decipher what you need and you can meet those needs on your own, other people are an addition to your life, not necessarily a need in your life, if that makes sense. I think I didn't review that part, and I'm getting myself a little bit confused. Anyways, today I would really like to take you on a meditation inward, and it's a meditation my way. Yesterday was just a little intro into going inward. Today, I'm going to show you how I practice. When people take an intuitive development class, I take them kind of like on a map, on a little trip, creating a energetic arena within yourself that allows for different information, that allows for the free flow of information, and it allows you to be connected to your third eye. So I would imagine that most people joining this are not just like they've never meditated before, they've never done any energy work before. It seems like the ones that are going to be coming onto this have done a lot of work already. So this shouldn't be too hard. But what it is very much geared towards people with ADHD. People with ADHD are managing a lot of things in their mind, a lot of things going on, and that's how we're going to be. My style of meditation isn't just quiet your mind and turn everything off. It's we're doing some work. We're going to explore. We're taking a journey, okay? So I'm going to take you on a journey. And I just want to reiterate what I said yesterday because this one, it won't be too long, maybe 30 minutes or so. But it's sometimes hard when you're in the middle of your day to go that deep and think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here forever. I need to be aware. I need to be vigilant because what if something happens and oh, I have to go to this thing afterwards, whatever. I promise I will bring you in and I will also bring you out before Darlene starts today. And well before Sammy starts today, we will have time for everything today. You will not get lost in this, I promise. But it will be an interesting journey for you, especially if you've never meditated with me before. So if we're ready to go ahead and get started, I will take you in and we'll do a little bit of grounding first, and we'll start running some energy. And then we'll look at some different places all the way up through your chakra system. We'll look at what is true for you, what's real for you, what's been for you. So go ahead and when you're ready, close your eyes. If you have a hard time staying awake, you may open your eyes to keep yourself awake. But sometimes shutting your eyes just allows you to focus inward without distraction. And if you have grounded before with an actual grounding cord, go ahead and start conjuring that up in your mind and getting started. If you haven't, I want you to feel into your base, the base of your body, your bottom area and where it's connected in your chair. And just feel your bottom in the chair. And then imagine energy work is really just imagination, making the energy happening, driving it. Imagine that some sort of root or tube or pipe or something is forming from the bottom of your body, your sit bones, your spine, but let it be nice and wide, at least as wide as your hips. None of these little rope, tiny grounding cords. You are a big energy. You are a big soul crammed down into this tiny body. So you need a big, energetic grounding cord to not only anchor your big magic here, but to also give a way to kind of like let the shit go that's in your body and in your energetic system that just doesn't need to be here anymore. You can drop it down the grounding cord. So give yourself lots and lots of space. And as this forms nice and wide, let it also start growing down towards the ground and into the ground. And we want that grounding cord to go down as close to the center of the earth as you can imagine it. And maybe as it's growing down through the layers of the earth, the dirt and the clay, maybe it's throwing out some little roots out the side so that it's starting to anchor in a little bit more superficial to the ground. Maybe it's throwing out some roots every so often on its way down. Noticing how the earth kind of moves out of the way to allow it to grow down in, and then just kind of tightens back up around it. So the earth is your ally holding you, holding your energy. And as the grounding cord moves deeper and deeper into the earth, you can let the top of your head relax. letting the skin on top of your head just drape downwards, and any tension can just fall right down the grounding cord. With your cheeks, letting your cheeks relax, letting your cheeks and your jaw just hang from your face. Letting your shoulders and your arms just hang from your spine. Again, letting any tension that you're holding just fall downwards. The grounding cord can just kind of just gently just keep pulling, as if there's like just a little bit of downward suction in that grounding cord, so that whenever you're ready to release, just gets pulled right down into the earth. Settling your energy down into your hips. Nice and heavy in your hips. And when that grounding cord is nice and deep and ready to anchor, you can anchor it big on something like a rock or a piece of metal, something strong and steady in this down deep in the earth. And then I'm going to have you run some different energy. I'm going to have you run some earth energy and also some cosmic energy to seed your body with different information. A lot of times we're thinking the same 10 thoughts over and over again all day long. So let's get some new information. I want you to feel your feet on the ground, the bottoms of your feet. Earth energy is, it's a little bit slower moving, a little bit denser. And so just with your intention, call up some earth energy up through your feet. Maybe you can even feel it as it moves through your feet. From the earth up through your feet, through your legs, up towards your knees, coming around your knees and across your thighs. And it's going to go into the front of your first chakra, which is right there at the base of your body, right where your body meets, your seat. And you're going to let that earth energy move into the first chakra and start to fill. Let it fill up and just start to move through that first chakra and then out the back. And then just let it drip and drain right down the grounding cord. So earth energy is coming up through your feet, through your legs, through your first chakra, and down the grounding cord. Like a loop. Magnetizing you to the earth. Imagining the earth energy running through the channels of your legs that hold energy and letting it be a gift. Letting it be nourishing and relaxing. Your legs do so much. They carry you everywhere you need to go. Just let them be nourished now and completely relaxed. And while the earth energy is moving, I want you to imagine your crown on top of your head, your crown chakra. And let it open. Let it open towards the sky. Cosmic energy is lighter, brighter, and faster than earth energy. So you can imagine a color. Pick a color for your cosmic energy and let it come from somewhere out there, somewhere in the cosmic openness, right down into the top of your crown, and it's going to flow down the back of your body, down the back of your head, down both sides of your spine, all the way down, and then enters in the back of your first chakra and starts to mix and intermingle with the earth energy. And watch what it does. Watch how the two energies start to intermingle. Maybe they're dancing, maybe they make a different color with the two mixing colors. And just let those two energies, maybe they're sloshing back and forth, maybe they're just spinning around slowly. But what we're doing is we're just shifting the energy and also kind of turning on that root chakra so that we can see. So I want your conscious awareness to be behind your eyes in the center of your head. If you were here yesterday, we visualized this space inside of our head, this space of neutral presence where we can evaluate and respond rather than react. So go to that place behind your eyes in the center of your head. And this is where I want you to be for the remainder of the meditation. We are going to be doing some work in all of these chakras, and I want you to stay present but neutral. I don't want you getting buried in a bunch of emotion. I don't want you getting taken back into, thinking about things too much. I just want you to stay behind your eyes in the center of your head. And then follow me. So let's look in this root chakra. And think about in your childhood home early on, like 0 to 7, your first memories. What did you learn about what was not acceptable? What were you told or shown that was absolutely forbidden? What did you learn wasn't allowed, wasn't welcome? These are probably some of the first things that, I don't know, maybe you wanted to do some of those things. Maybe you even thought about some of those things, but oh, dare not say it, right? That's not acceptable. Further, to be nice or moral or well-mannered or decent, what did that mean you had to do? What did you have to do in order to be the good girl? In order to be a decent person? What did that look like? These are probably some of the first places you started masking because you knew that all these things were so wrong or taboo. As we come up through the chakra system with the earth and cosmic energy, we're allowing these areas to be more visible to us, but we're also doing something else. We're giving your energetic system a rinse, like a roto-rooter. Okay? We're letting the earth and cosmic energy rinse and move through, disrupt some of this energy that's been patterning forever. Now, let's move up to the second chakra, but we're going to move it. We're going to do 80% cosmic energy and 20% earth energy. We don't want so much density in the higher chakras. So 80% cosmic, 20% earth. We're going to let that energy mixture move up the front side of your body and right into the front of your second chakra, which is right between your navel and your pubic bone. Let it fill with the earth and cosmic mixture. And let it get just a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger, like a balloon. You know, you fill it up and then you just fill it up just a little bit more and let it stretch, that second chakra stretch open just a little bit more. Increasing our capacity energetically on purpose. Yesterday, Darlene talked about shame. Shame is a really great emotion to spark masking because nobody wants to feel shame. But you want to know a secret about shame? Shame never belongs to the person that's feeling it. Shame was given to you by somebody else. You don't just get born and go through life and feel shame. Somebody passed their shame onto you. So when is the first time you remember feeling that emotion? Shame. Do you remember what it was about? What you did, what you said, what you were thinking? Do you remember who gave it to you? Generally, it's a parent, but not necessarily. And what did people look like? Like, what did the person look like when they were passing their shame on to you? But also, what do you do when you feel shame? What did you do then? What did your body do? What does your body do now? What is your patterning around shame? When you feel shame, what do you do? Do you shut down? Do you isolate? Do you hide? Do you hide the behaviors that you have shame around? What if you shared your shame? You know, they say that's the antidote, right? Shame lives in secrecy. So I was taught that in order to unload your shame first, you admit the thing to yourself. And then you share it with one other person. And then you share it with a few other people. And eventually, when you can share it with everybody in the world, it's no longer controlling you. It's done. It's over. As soon as it comes out of secrecy, it's no longer a thing. I've actually worked with this on a few things in my own life as well, and it's true, it works. Now let's move that same energy mixture from the second chakra up into the third, into the solar plexus, right above your navel. And notice if you can actually feel the energy moving into these chakras or moving within the chakra. Notice how the energy is moving within the chakra. Is it doing the same thing that it did in the sacral, the back and forth, or maybe like a churning or just a spinning? much like we did in the second chakra, let it fill just a little bit more. Just a little bit more than what you feel like is comfortable. Stretching a little bit more. Here in the solar plexus, let's talk a little bit about anger. When was the first time you witnessed anger? Generally, it's a parent, right? Not necessarily, but going way back. When was the first time you really saw an angry outburst? What did it look like? What did it sound like? Stay behind your eyes in the center of your head. What were the words that were used? What were the mannerisms used? What did the energy in the room feel like? Did your people explode? Or were they running off a low level of anger all the time? When was the first time you felt really, really big anger? What did that look like? What did it sound like? What did it feel like in your body? And now, what is your experience to anger now? Does it still look like any of those things, or has it evolved? Are you an exploder? Are you run a low level of irritation and annoyance all the time? Or do you just stuff your anger down because it's not acceptable? It's just an exploration. When was the last time you remember feeling angry? Like more than just a, annoyance, like actual anger. What do you think is the thing that drives you to anger the most often? Your biggest anger trigger? Is it actually anger? Or is it something else that you feel that makes you angry? Just notice the energy moving in the chakra. And let's start to move it up into the heart, up the front side of the body, and into the center of your chest, filling the heart chakra completely. And as the heart chakra is getting, I want to do a little energy work here. I'm sorry, I'm being told to do this. As the energies are filling the heart space, the energies are carrying with them an energy of levity. And so as it fills the heart space, I want it to be so full of the heart of the earth and cosmic energy that any density or heaviness is kind of just being pushed out. And when it's pushed out, just let it just kind of fall, let the grounding cord, that little suction I was talking about, just let it kind of pull it down. Just let any density come, be basically like pushed out by the earth and cosmic energy. And then it can just fall down the grounding cord. Any heaviness in the heart that's ready to be let go of now, just let it go. Let the earth and cosmic energy push it out and then move within the heart space however it wants to move. Letting your heart space be nice and buoyant, nice and light, floaty in your chest. And here in the heart space, I just talk about the balance between giving and receiving. Since we're here, do you think that you are a good receiver? Because most of us healers, we are givers, not receivers. So how do you feel like your balance is between giving and receiving? Because giving sometimes is a mask. The over giving equated to some people pleasing. But also sometimes we overgive because maybe we don't feel like we deserve it. Do we deserve to receive unless we've given enough first? So just notice, if you are more of a giver, why are you more of a giver? Is it to stay in control and not be vulnerable? Which is valid, that happens too. Or like the endurer, Sammy, I've heard Sammy talk about needing to be the endurer, needing to like be the strong one, right? To hold it all, to give everything that you have. Just to keep going, keep giving, keep doing, and not giving yourself a chance to relax and receive. Maybe being the martyr, right? Just notice, just think for a moment about your relationship to giving versus your relationship to receiving. Think about the overgiving too in terms of I lost my train of thought, but overgiving is a mask. We all want and need to receive. But so often we pretend like we don't need anything, that we've got it, that we can do it all. We can give it all, we can help, we can endure all of the things, right? But most of the time, what you really want is somebody to be doing that to you. Then there's that difficulty of receiving it, that vulnerability that comes when you allow the receipt. So just notice what comes up for you when you think about that. And now let's move that energy mixture up into the throat chakra. Maybe even like stretch your neck out, opening the chakra so that it can really be filled all the way. Every crack, every crevice, maybe even stretching it out. Sometimes we have a throat chakra that's kind of wrinkled up because we've not been saying as many things as we need to say. So it's kind of shut down and kind of constricted. So just imagine it stretching out and opening out. Your throat chakra is the bridge between your inner and outer world. Hearing, reading, all of that is part of the throat chakra. It's about taking in information and then writing, speaking, it's all part of it, right? Whatever you're feeling on the inside, you can express to the outside in those ways. Whatever messages you receive from the divine can be delivered through your throat chakra. This is where I'm going to talk about people pleasing. What's unsaid because it's not acceptable, or what's said and not meant because what we really mean is unacceptable. Think about the things, even within your closest relationships, the ones that you see all day. What things are you not saying? What things do you wish you could say, but you don't want to make any waves? What needs need to be expressed, but you're afraid they won't be realized? What wants do you not express because maybe they're too much? What things do you say just because it's what they want to hear? I know a lot of us have been doing work on this, but even still, it still happens sometimes. Maybe not even with our closest people, but maybe with the cashier. How's your day? How are you feeling today? It's great. Maybe you didn't have such a great day, but you don't really want to. Actually, I'm having a really crappy day, right? Sometimes we don't want to say that. So we're just like, oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine. People pleasing isn't just about speaking, though, right? Sometimes it's giving up things. Sometimes it's doing things we don't want to do. And we can go ahead and let the energy move up the front, up through your jaw, up through your face, rinsing your sinuses. These are all your telepathic channels, all these places where you have conversations going on in your head. That's all like, all that information is in your sinuses. So let this earth and cosmic energy mixture just come up through. And as it comes up towards the third eye, just let it rinse all the channels and sinuses in your face, and your nose, and your eyeballs, right up into the third eye, and let the third eye space fill. Let those energies work their magic in there. Kind of turning on this chakra, opening it up, opening that lens. What did you learn about your gifts when you were a child? Most of us learned to ignore our gifts. I mean, unless you had grandparents or parents that were in tune with their intuitive gifts. I've heard so many people that maybe they had imaginary friends, which I think probably are real spirits, right? But you talk to your parents about your imaginary friends and they just tell you that they're fake, that they're not real. They make fun of it. So you just stop noticing it, stop talking about it, stop sharing it. What did you learn about intuition? Was it something that was welcomed or something that was gaslit? When did you first even recognize your intuition? Did anybody ever talk about it with you? What about your parents? Did you notice that they were intuitive? Were there things that they did or said that let you know? Or was it just something that was ignored? And then we'll go ahead and keep moving the energy up into the crown chakra on top of your head. This in your crown is where your certainty lives, what you're certain of. Your crown also kind of runs your aura. What you're certain of is carried in your aura. I will explain more in just a second. However, you'll notice people, like when you ask them, I even do it. You ask somebody about something they know a lot about, like a math teacher. You ask them about a math concept and they're like, oh yeah, I got this. And they'll even sometimes like put their head a little bit differently. Like I know I do, like I will like move myself up into a head. Oh, I know that. I'm going to go to that place where all of that information is there, right? So I can pop up into my crown chakra and here you go. Here's all the things. I know it. I'm certain of this, that I have this information right here. But it's not just academics. It's also the things that are true to you. If you are certain in your fear, you're going to carry fear in your aura. If you are certain that you are depressed, you're going to carry that with you in your aura. So what is it that you're certain of? What do you think is being carried in your aura? And so this little exploration is about to end. We've now given a flush to all of the 7 chakras here. A little exploration, a little rinse, a little roto-rooter of the energetic system. So now everything's moving in the crown. I want you to just go ahead and let it keep going and just whale spout out the top of your head, pushing everything out and letting it rain down through your aura, letting it rinse through your aura, taking a moment to do some aura work, noticing if you've got any rips or tears in your aura, making sure that you are completely surrounded by it. It is connected above your head. It's tucked into your grounding cord beneath you so that all of this runoff, everything that's spouting out the top of your head, this energy and down through your aura, it can just drain right down the grounding cord underneath you. Just a nice cleansing. Any rips or tears that are in your aura, any places that are open that looks like you're leaking energy, just go ahead and, just with your hands energetically patch it up. Make sure that there's nothing leaking anywhere and that you're contained. And you can let everything slow down and stop running. Feel your body. Feel your bottom in the chair. Feel your feet on the floor. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I see several people have come on my live late here. I'm about to end this because I just did the meditation, but if you want to go back and do it, you can do it. The replay will be there. If you want to sign up and hop on to the rest of the transmission, I've got 2 other practitioners on our Zoom right now. Gonna come on and do some stuff. But thank you, the ones of you who are watching, thank you for hanging out with me. And if you didn't catch the whole thing, catch the replay. Ladies.
Sammy, did you want to cancel the recording and restart it?
Yes, actually, first, Miranda, if you want to mention anything about your intuitive development program, you can do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Did you want to? Okay, go ahead.
So I teach intuitive development. That is what we did today is basically kind of what we do in each class with a different theme. We're going to go and we're going to work through things, but it's not just an exploration usually. We're doing some other, kind of like what we did with the heart, letting some of that density come out, moving energy. We do a whole lot of moving energy. But what I've been doing lately is themed shorter classes. So the last one I did was around shadow work. So it was 8 weeks of exploring the shadow through each of the chakras, different shadows each week. The next one I have coming up, I don't know exactly when it's going to start, but it is about mothering and motherhood. So if you are a mother, if you have a mother, if you have patterns that have been passed down from your mother to you, if you behave like your mother and wish you weren't behaving like your mother, this is the class for you. We're going to be doing all kinds of mother wound stuff, but also just like what happens to you as a mother embodied, having watched your own mother and felt into your own mother and learned from your own mother, and what you're bringing with you now, or what you're wanting to choose to bring with you now instead. So that's going to happen. I will probably start that in about a month. So anybody who's interested in that, make sure that we have your email address so that I can send information about that when I have actual dates.
Well, thanks very much, Miranda. That was amazing. I can remember the grounding exercise from our December summit, and that was very great to be able to relive it because I completely forgot about it. And just going through the different chakras and clearing the stagnant energy in that was very beneficial. So thank you so much for your session, and now we'll do a little bit more of when the mask no longer fits. We're going to be releasing the anger. We're going to stop people pleasing. We're going to stop perfectionism so you can be yourself again. So anger is often the emotion we see on the surface, just on the surface, but underneath, it may be years of people pleasing, perfectionism, overgiving, having that control and silence and self-abandonment. Because when you're doing all the ones that I just mentioned, you're abandoning your own core self. So in this session, I, Darlene Tarchansky, will be helping you recognize the masks that you have worn to stay safe and needing to take them off so that you can begin reconnecting with the woman you are truly are right now, and the woman you want to become. So one key takeaway I want you to have is I can honor the masks that once protected me, and I can release the ones that no longer fit because you're an adult and you can begin choosing the woman that you truly are now and choosing which mask that you want to have on. So yesterday we talked about the outbursts being the smoke alarm, not the whole fire. Today we're going to talk about the mask underneath the smoke alarm. Because sometimes anger is not just anger. Sometimes anger is what finally shows up after years of saying, yes, yes, I'll do the cookie bake sale. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I do that. When you really meant, no, I don't have the capacity or the time to do that. But you were smiling when you were exhausted, and you're keeping the peace and you're holding it together and being praised for being the strong one. Well, nobody notices what's costing you. So, that everything that Sammy was talking about yesterday was, she thrived on that praise for keeping everything together with her daughters, with her two children that she had 18 months apart. And she was the strong one. And people would just say, oh, I don't know how you do it. Well, that's what it was costing you. You need to have the knowledge of what didn't fit. So the masks that no longer fit, is it I'm always the nice one. Everybody loves me. I'm the nice one. Or I'm the strong one. My brother, he can do what he needs, goes off in a sulk, but I'm the strong one. Nobody knows exactly what I'm feeling. Or the perfect one. Neither one of us were the perfect ones. He was the angel child. I was the devil child. So, we would be given crayons and a coloring book. He would be the one sitting there flipping through the pages of the coloring book because I had the crayons, and I was drawing on the walls. So when I say I was the devil child, that's what I heard, because, I was the one that knew how to put Tom, Tom, so much easier than Darlene. So Tom was in everything. So he got in trouble until my parents figured out that it was me. So, and then I became the peacekeeper. I, did things behind the scenes so that everything would be nice and organized, and nothing would be, ruffling feathers for people. And I was definitely the overgiver. And I learned in my marriage to be the one that never needs anything. He was always out fixing everybody else's house, never mind our house. And the one who holds it all together for both sides of the family. I was it. So I want you to say, these masks may have helped you to feel safe. They may have helped you to avoid the conflicts, the rejection, the disappointment, and the criticism or the abandonment. But what protected you then may be exhausting you now or for the past bunch of years. Because PMS and menopause can turn up the volume on what have you been carrying quietly for years. The patterns you use to push through may suddenly be becoming too heavy to keep wearing that cloak. There's the mask, and you put the cloak on to keep yourself warm because you're afraid to take that cloak off and expose yourself to what's out there. You learn to wear those layers. So here's something I learned that at first I found kind of shocking, but it makes some very much sense. Familiarity equals survivability. A lot of the things that are challenges or circumstances we don't like seem kind of familiar. Like, this has happened before. So you end up repeating situations, and that's not a failure of willpower. They're evidence of unresolved internal imprint that's still driving us. And it also explains why someone can have a painful childhood experience with a critical parent or grandparent, and then in their adult life, they find a critical boss or partner or some authority figure to have in their lives that feels safe, that they recognize. So when people are narcissistic, if they've had that pattern in their life, they find somebody that's narcissistic to keep in their life so it feels safe. Because familiarity equals survivability. We've had that experience, so we know we can survive it. So the repetition often continues until the original learnings that created the pattern is updated. What did you learn? What did I learn? I learned I could survive. When my husband died, I learned I could survive anything. I got praised. And my dad's family was great, but there was that one aspect of my life when I was molested by an uncle that was challenging for me for growing up. But I learned to cope with it. But then I kept using that coping mechanism in my career so that people would walk on me and nobody noticed what I did because they took the credit for it. So have any of you noticed that the bad things often repeat in your life? So people pleasing is not a weakness. Perfectionism is not just being organized. Overgiving is not just being kind. Like Miranda was saying, you're a great giver, but can you receive? These can be survival patterns. Maybe you learned it was safer to be agreeable than honest. It's like, yeah. But the honest thing was, no, I totally don't agree with that. And then something I learned recently was when you have a complete disagreement with what somebody's saying and they've gone on and on and on about it, you can just say, I've never thought of it like that, and walk away. It's the end of the argument because all of a sudden they're right. And you're just removing yourself from the situation because sometimes it's easier. Maybe you learned love came when you performed like a seal. We always get our dogs and cats to do tricks. Maybe you learned being easy made you acceptable. So easygoing that, people would just bail at you on the appointments that you've made with them at the last minute because you're so easygoing. They know it's not going to affect you. Well, it really does. Maybe you learned having needs made you an inconvenience. I learned that one. Maybe you learned being perfect helped you avoid criticism. So everybody wants perfection, but maybe just progress is the perfection you need. Because at one time, the mask may have helped you survive, but now it may be keeping you from being fully yourself. So anger can be the part of you that refuses to abandon yourself anymore. And that's why it's coming out. This is powerful and very aligned, and you should notice it. What if your anger is not here to destroy your way of life? What if your anger is the part of you that's finally saying, I can't keep abandoning myself to everyone else's comfortableness? When you say yes and mean no, anger may show up. And if you're on the phone, you'll slam down the phone, or at least push the button really hard. When we had it so much easier when we had landlines, we just slam it down. When you overgive and no one notices, resentment may show up. I know for the longest time, I was just cooking Sunday dinners for the family constantly. And if they said thank you, it never registered. So I was resentful because I was the one that was doing all the work and I didn't feel appreciated. So when you're keeping the peace, but silencing yourself, the sadness may show up inside. And we're trying to be perfect and still feel unseen. That's when the rage might show up. The anger might be messy. It might be really loud. People learned I had a voice. And it's going to be uncomfortable. But underneath, it may be a need for honesty and rest, support, space, setting boundaries, and setting some self-respect, some boundaries so that you're not walked on, you're not taken advantage of. So I want you to, or when you're not appreciated, Miranda's written in the chat. So I want you to write down in your journal, your workbook, your wonderful companion guide that Sammy has provided for us. If you haven't got it, please get it. It's amazing just to go through, and you have a choice. But I want you to write on there, write even on a paper or in your journal tonight. The mask I wear most often is, and fill in the blank. Are you the nice one, the strong one, the perfect one? Are you the peacekeeper? One of my clients is the overgiver. She doesn't know how to receive. I explained to her, when you don't allow others to give back to you, you're depriving them of having that feeling of giving. And are you the one who holds it all together? Or what is it? What is it for you? And then after you've got a couple of those down, I want you to ask, this mask that I wore helped me to feel safe by what? Was it avoiding conflict? Avoiding being judged? Avoiding having rejection? Somebody saying, no, picking you last for the sports team. That was major rejection. And that avoided disappointment. And you just kept keeping people happy around you. So that made you feel in control. Because as long as you did that, they were in your power. Or at least that's what you thought. So this mask helped me feel safe by, what's your line? And then the next question is, the cost of wearing that mask is, I feel exhausted. Now, sleep is my most important thing. I schedule it into my calendar. I make sure I'm never exhausted like I used to get myself, and I would just fall asleep at the drop of a hat. Now I have a certain time I go to bed, and whenever I wake up, I wake up. And the cost of wearing the mask of making some Sunday family dinner, I was feeling resentful because I wasn't saying what I needed. That was another mask. I never said what I needed. And do you feel disconnected from your true self, your inner person that you know? And then you just snap later. Because did you feel invisible? Or what did you feel? And the underneath the mask that you wore, this is the fourth point. Did you need rest? Did you need somebody just to help you? Did you need somebody to honestly say, you're doing too much, share what needs to be done? Or did you just need space, that alone time that I crave now? And did you need to put up boundaries? Did you need to be heard? Even if you said something quietly, did you need to be heard? Even if you said it sarcastically, did they hear you? And this was the big one for me. I needed to stop pretending I'm fine. Just like Miranda said, I'm fine, I'm good. So now that you've got those four things done, ask yourself, who would I be if I didn't have to wear this mask today, tomorrow? Who would you be? So I want you to get nice and comfortable where you're sitting, just as Miranda had a nice exercise of meditation for us. We're going to have a super conscious transformation. I'm going to lead you through a mini process, because with every desire for healing is also a desire for change. So seeing what mask you wore, what does that feel like? Write a number down from 0 to 10, where the energy that you're feeling about wearing that mask, 10 being, oh my God, I got to rip this off now, to it might be a 5 where I've lived with it for so long, it's a familiar friend. And I'm afraid to let it off, take it off, get rid of it. So from 0 to 10, write that number down. And if the energy is a sensation in your body, if you really feel what's going on as you uncover this, write that down too. just let it come through. So write down that 0 to 10, where 0 is neutral, nothing. 10 is the highest level of emotional charge. Just write it down in your book. You don't have to share it, but if you want to put it in the chat, go right ahead. So what's the level of energy this resistance you're uncovering right now? So we're going to start with some somatic shift just to bring the energy down a little bit. So get our heads grounded. And so I like to just stretch. There's that rib that always pops. And stretch one way to the other. And I see a 7 in the chat. And just take your risk and just pull it. Pull and pull your other wrist. And then just get your hands and just start massaging your hands. And look at your hands. Look at your fingerprints. See if you can feel your fingerprints from one hand to the other. I know when I was first told that I would be blind in 6 months, I would try and feel that braille that they told me I was going to need. I couldn't feel it. My fingertips weren't sensitive enough. Thank goodness I have fought the blindness, and I still have 50% after, what's it been, 12 years. So, and then just rub your hands. Like it's the first time in a long time that you've seen yourself and you're just caressing. And when in the winter, when I do this, my hands are so cold. I thought menopause would warm me up forever. They lied. My hands and feet still get cold. In my 30s, I used to type with gloves on, doing my work at corporate. But now I control the temperature in my house. And sometimes I do have to wear double socks because my feet are just cold, especially if I'm not feeling well, if I haven't been taking care of myself. And then just start rubbing up and down your arms, giving yourself a nice caress and a hug. Because sometimes we just need a hug from ourselves because we're not getting hugs from anybody else. And then when you want, you can just rub up into your temples. And temples is where everybody feels the most of their stress. When I have migraines coming on, it's usually above my left eyebrow. Why it decided that that's the spot, who knows? But I know when that starts to hurt, that I haven't been taking care of myself. And the other spot is the back of the neck. Right there. So it's just getting you nice and grounded, caressing, releasing the tension in spots that you've held the tension in there for so long. And it's just giving your nervous system something that it knows you're there for it, so that it's not alone. And I always like to do my jaws too, because I'm a teeth clencher. I don't grind, I just clench my teeth. And there's pictures of me, hands clenched and jaw clenched. So I know that I wasn't doing my best job. So now just stretch your neck, and I want you to get it wiggling into your chair, get nice and comfortable. We're going to release some of the items that we've talked about today. We're going to shift the superconscious and do some release work. We're going to release the energy of this mass that you've been holding on to. Are you ready to do that? Just give me a nod or no, okay, thumbs up works too. Thanks, Miranda. You're front and center on my screen. And I'm just going to ask for permission. So superconscious, are you there? And this is the intuition that Miranda is talking about. And superconscious is there and wanting to help. So we're going to release. So just go ahead and relax. Get comfortable. Sit back into your chair. And I want you to take nice, slow breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, so like you're breathing out of a straw. And you can make a noise too. The nervous system loves when we make noises on our outgoing breath. It feels it and it knows it's safe. And also, if you're tense during the day, hum to yourself, sing to yourself internally so that you know you're safe. And is it okay for me to connect to the highest good for everybody today, superconscious? Yes. And if you're listening to this in the replay, this works for you too. Just listen to my voice. So the superconscious is your innate super healer, your highest level healer that's going to be doing the healing work of this process today. Think of it as the head. Your head is your conscious mind, and your subconscious is the rest of your body. And like Miranda was saying about our aura, that's the whole superconscious. The whole superconscious is the aura around our body. And luckily enough, she just had us tighten it up. The suit of our aura is nice and strong. So that's what's going to be doing the healing work in this process. So you can just sit back and relax and let this process be easy. There's nothing you need to do other than be present during the healing process. So you're not checking your email, you're not checking whatever's going on, but being present to it and keeping your eyes closed so that the superconscious can know that you're there. So superconscious, do you see everybody's true goal of wanting to stop wearing the mask, of wanting to have the mask that no longer fits taken away, and just not being able to put it back on, or the cloak? It's what they're really wanting. And superconscious, please create the perfect treatment plan. But superconscious, diagnose and resolve any barriers to the treatment process and any barriers to the communication process. And then superconscious, please create the treatment plan. Make it perfect plan for this mask that they've been wearing and all the other masks in it. And superconscious, please invite any inner parts and protector parts to be part of the treatment team if they would like. Let all the parts know that this is the opportunity for them to experience greater fulfillment and satisfaction in life, that they can be the cheerleader instead of the self-sabotager. And make sure your eyes are closed and relaxed. Or if it's easier to just put your gaze downward, if it's more comfortable and feel safer, then go ahead. Super conscious, please treat everything, all these masks, and do a massive change history. Now, when you're doing a massive change history, it's not changing the event. It's just changing the emotional charge that you have associated with that event. So super conscious, do a massive change history and everything else needed to heal the mass now. Super conscious, please treat all the parts affected by this mass that we've been wearing. Let them know that they are loved unconditionally, that we know they've been wearing these masks for so long, keeping us safe, and we love and appreciate them. And please treat all these younger selves that have been holding on to these masks and memories at different ages, and do a massive change history in everything that they can remember that's hard and sad and scary. And super conscious, please treat and release anything else that you can find in the corners of those masks. Easily and effortlessly take them away with great compassion and wisdom. And super conscious, allow all the emotional learnings and lessons to be integrated as needed in the unconscious and subconscious and the conscious mind. And please install any new emotional states and beliefs that they want to have serving them. Please get it all integrated and everything easily and effortlessly. So everybody, I want you to take 3 nice deep breaths. So in through the nose and let it out. Another and another round. So leaving it all grounded and check in. And when you're ready to come back, open your eyes and look at 3 things in your environment, so that when you see these 3 things again, you know that you're safe, that you're changing the mass. So this doesn't have to be the season where you lose yourself. It can be the season where you just stop carrying around what was never yours to keep, the things you thought that you needed. So this isn't about becoming someone who you were in your 20s or your 30s or your 50s and 60s, depending on how old you are. It's about becoming the woman you truly are now, without those emotions and anger and sadness that make every decision for you. So she can say what's needed. She can repair the relationships without drowning in shame because of what she's done. She can feel anger without being consumed by it and having that rolling around in her head. Just get it down on paper. Whenever you have that ruminating thoughts, write it down in your book, hide it somewhere so that nobody else can see it. So you can just stop abandoning yourself and just to keep everyone else comfortable. You need comfort too. And I want you to live from peace instead of protection. One of the things in my course is the root cause event. It's a healing system, a really advanced healing system that's really about working with the root cause event. The root cause event is a transformational process that rewires deeply ingrained emotional and behavioral patterns by resolving the original root cause event that created them, allowing lasting change to occur at the source. Subsequent events, anything events afterwards, are just reinforcing the pattern. If the pattern got formed by an experience of life, it doesn't make sense that we revise the pattern by creating a new experience of life. And you don't have to relive it. That's the beauty of using the superconscious. You can just have this thought pop into your head as you're thinking of what the emotion you're feeling is. And it's just like those bubble pops that they have in the cartoons, in the comics, that, you know, the thought bubbles. All kinds of things will happen because we transform the emotional, the perception, and the psychological imprint. When the root of that changes, all the downstream behaviors reorganize on their own. Their system finds a new way to respond. My clients have updated how they cope or respond to situations in as much more adult and resourceful and respectful way to themselves, because that's younger self is no longer running the show. So some of the benefits of doing this is you can quickly and easily and gently let go of the past. This is how I let go of the sexual molestation that I had. And I gained so much inner peace. I gained the wisdom from past events. And I've helped my clients to transform core issues and their patterns. And forgiveness for themselves for the past events where they thought they were to blame. It might not have been. That's the way they coped. But giving forgiveness is for yourself. You never have to tell the other person, I forgive you. It's all for yourself, because when you forgive, you're just releasing that energy, that stuck energy, that anger, that hatred. The body can release the emotions from past events easily and just feel a greater safety. And the patterns can be updated and create new patterns of behavior and being. And that changes all the way through to your children and their children. It changes the patterns ancestrally so that you're not continuing on that pattern from generation to generation to generation. Because you are not too far gone. You're not broken. You're not the mask that you're wearing. You are not the outbursts. You're a woman in a powerful transition. And the real you is asking to come forward and is asking for help to be shown the way. So the mask may have protected you all these years, but it was never meant to become your whole identity. You're allowed to take it off. You're allowed to be seen for who you are. used to wear tons of makeup. And I would call it my war paint. And now, since COVID, stop wearing makeup. And you're just allowed to come back to yourself, your true self. Warts and all, I believe the saying is. So, day one, we explored what's happening inside you. You learn that your emotions are not proof that you're broken. They're not proof that you shouldn't be loved. They're just signals from part of you asking for support. And today we explored the masks that you have been worn to stay safe, to keep you safe. You learned how anger and people pleasing and perfectionism and overgiving may be connected to those masks, and how to begin choosing the real you again. Tomorrow, for the VIP session that we're going to be doing for those people that upgraded to VIP, I will be going into the emotional weight we carry. Most people that want to lose weight, they just yo because they're not dealing with the emotions of the weight that's keeping them safe. Because the amount of women that have been abused sexually or physically or emotionally, they're the ones that carry the extra pounds, and they can never get it off until you release the emotions behind what makes you feel safe all the time. That's where yo-yo dieting comes in. Tomorrow, I'm going to look for a picture tonight of me 2 years ago when I was 200 and close to 40 pounds. I wouldn't step on the scale, so I couldn't tell you how much exactly. But my face was so fat. And then I started doing this work. And I've already lost so much more weight. And Sammy helped me in the spring, helped me lose more weight. I had the dress I wanted to be wearing at an event in May, hanging right there so I could see it all the time. So it was right there. And I can help you lose that weight. So book a complimentary 30-minute emotional peace session with me. I'll put the link in the chat. And there's no pressure. As you can see, I'm not a salesperson. I really don't know how to sell cars. Don't even know how to drive them anymore because of my vision. So it's no high pressure sales or anything else. We're just going to chat, and you can share what you want and just keep written down for your own personal benefit what you don't want to share, because you don't have to say it. Your heart knows, your nervous system knows. So thank you. And now we're going to go to Sammy, and she's going to lead us through this workbook once again. Can't wait. It was wonderful. So here's today's the start. And make sure you take care of yourself. Drink a lot of water tonight. You've gone through a meditation with Miranda and a super conscious session with me. And you need to take care of yourself. So be kind to yourself. Put your feet up. Have lots of water. Wine is not water. So I have this crazy cat lady mug, but it's always just filled with water. I can't drink coffee anymore. And I don't have caffeine very often, maybe 4 times a year. But herbal teas, but this 20 ounce, I probably have filled it up like 6, 7 times today. And so it's just water with lemon, but it's so important to flush your body. And make sure you drink a lot of water. And if you can't give up the alcohol or the caffeine right away, it took me a long time. But it was one of the things I did for myself to preserve my body so I could live longer. And now I will hand it over to Sammy. Sammy Tag, you're it. Sammy, you have to unmute still. There you go. Sammy, I can't hear you.
How about now?
That much, when you have the mic close to the mouth, it works amazingly.
That might be useful, right? All right. So thank you, Darlene. And like, wow, both of y'all sessions have just been really, really amazing. And I can definitely tell you, like, what Darlene is saying about weight is completely true because let's see, I was like 170, which is the most I'd ever been in my life. And I've just always been a really small person. And when I started working on healing, that is when things started actually changing for me. Before that, I couldn't figure it out. It didn't matter that I started eating healthier and exercised and all that. So, yeah, you would be surprised how many levels doing this type of healing work will actually affect you on. But yeah, before we really get started with everything that I'm going to talk about today, let me ask y'all something. How many of you caught yourself in one of those moments that we talked about yesterday, between yesterday and now? And then you went right ahead and you did the thing anyway. You reacted, you people pleased, whatever it was for you. Okay, that's perfect. I'm serious. That's actually really perfect because that means that you actually did the work. If because if that's what happened, then that means yesterday did exactly what it was supposed to do. See, yesterday wasn't about changing your life overnight. That doesn't realistically happen. Yesterday was just about starting to notice something. And if you started to notice, then that's all we needed. Give me a second because I just realized my laptop wasn't plugged in and it wants to start dying now instead of like right before now, right? Me and electronics. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So if you notice, that means that you made progress. That's really what yesterday was about, is starting to notice those moments more. Not wait afterwards, like when they're happening, which we did also talk about how awareness isn't the answer. And just noticing those moments isn't going to fix it, right? So we're going to go deeper than that today. So maybe you had one of those moments yesterday where you noticed the pattern and you still did it anyway. Maybe afterwards you caught yourself thinking, seriously, I knew better than this. Why do I keep doing it? And I've had those moments a lot too. I still have those moments to this day, a lot less than I used to, definitely. But I still have those moments. And for a long time, I really thought that it meant that I wasn't self-aware enough or that maybe I wasn't disciplined enough. And looking back, I actually think that I was really just trying to solve a problem with my nervous system, with willpower, and just trying to be more disciplined and figure it all out. And that doesn't really work. And then I noticed something completely different. Have you ever been sitting there and you're literally watching yourself do the thing? It's like, don't say it, but then you say it anyway, or don't apologize, and then you're apologizing again. For me, I would be blowing up because my big thing was anger, a lot of anger. because I'd let people push me around for so long and like not have my needs met for so long. Eventually, I couldn't handle it anymore. But I would be in my head the whole time, like, just calm the fuck down. What are you doing? Just stop. The whole time I'm in my head, but that didn't change anything. I still kept going. But isn't that kind of strange? Because if part of you already knew, then the awareness is already there, right? We already have that awareness. And that question really changed everything for me because if awareness was already there, then that's not the thing that's missing. And don't get me wrong, like I was saying yesterday, awareness really matters. It's where the whole journey begins. But it doesn't automatically change what happens next. I get so frustrated. You can ask Sean, I'll be watching a video. I'm like, this is good. I like what this guy is saying. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? We're back to awareness again? Because that's all I hear anyone talking about. And then they end with it. And it drives me crazy because that is the beginning of the journey, not the end of it. It's the very, very beginning. And I think that's why so many people are really, really frustrated right now because they're hearing awareness and be more disciplined and try harder. And they've been doing that. It doesn't fucking work. I did it for most of my life. Like my dad listened to Tony Robbins and was an entrepreneur. He loved that quote that is one of my favorite. Whether you think you can or you can't, you will. I knew all this stuff for a really, really long time. I went to therapy for years. It didn't change that I still was sabotaging myself every time I turned around. So maybe the question that we need to be asking isn't why do I keep reacting, but what happened right before I reacted? Because I don't actually think that the reaction is where the pattern begins at all. I think something happened first. Like Darlene was talking about, like that underlying need that was there. So I'm curious, have you ever had one of those moments where afterwards you think, like, my body knew this. My body knew before I did. Maybe you didn't have the words for it at the time, but you just knew something felt different. Maybe something inside of you tightened, or just the way you felt shifted, or you felt your stomach drop. Something inside of your body started paying attention, whether you had the words for it or your mind had the thoughts for it or not. Your mind catches up to all of it later. And I really think that's interesting because if your body is what's noticing first, then maybe that's where we need to start practicing. We've been spending all this time in our heads trying to figure it out. Maybe that's not where we need to be. Not after we've already reacted. Like I said, I would be in my head telling myself, what are you doing? Just stop. But if we can start catching it when our body is noticing, that's when we can start actually making a difference. So go ahead and get your companion guide out, and we're going to go to the page, What Has Been Revealed. It should be the second page that has my picture on it. The first one is just like if you want to take random notes. So yeah, what has been revealed? So I want you to think back to since when we were together last night and we're talking last night. Not your whole entire life. We're just thinking about since yesterday's session. And I want you to write down one moment that you noticed. What was happening? What made you pause for just a second and think, that's interesting? Don't overthink this. Don't try to make it profound if you have to go back a little bit further. That's okay too. Maybe the past day hasn't been that eventful for you, but just notice what you noticed. I'm gonna give y'all just a minute here. Okay, awesome. So, did anything come up for anyone that they would be willing to share? You can drop it in the chat or unmute. It's up to you if you feel like
Turn the
sharing.
mic down.
Thank you. Did y'all hear any of that, or do I need to repeat? Okay, awesome. All right. I said, would anyone want to be willing to share something that came up for them? If you want to, you can unmute or drop it in the chat. It's also totally fine if nobody wants to share as well. Sometimes we need time to actually process things for a little while. And also, sometimes it's hard to feel safe in a space like this to share with people, especially usually when I'm doing talks where I'm having people share, we have like group commitments ahead of time where we're all like, you know, we're saying we're going to keep each other's privacy and all of those things. And we don't have that here. So safety is a big deal. And I get that. So yeah, let's keep going forward. And yeah, like I was saying, sometimes awareness really happens before we have the words for it too. So maybe you don't even realize entirely what you're noticing yet. That's okay too. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to like process this to really actually have a concrete way to describe it. And that's also why I had you write it down. I know a lot of times I write something down and then I go back and like I add so much more to it later. So, yeah, right now it's mainly about noticing it. You don't have to figure out a way to explain it or anything like that. But what I do want to say is that both in my own life and the people that I've worked with, what I have noticed is that almost every pattern starts before the reaction. Something shifts first. Maybe it's a thought that you had, or a feeling, or your body starts paying attention before you even have a thought. Whatever it is, now that we're starting to notice it, you can really start actually doing work on having choice. So let's go back to that moment that we were using yesterday. Maybe it was a conversation or a text. If you weren't here yesterday, we are just talking about um, a moment that wasn't crazy triggering or anything like that, but just where you showed up, maybe not in a way that you're the most proud of, not in a way that you would have liked to. So maybe you caught yourself people pleasing, or maybe you shut down, or you are overthinking. Whatever your moment was, I want you to think about what actually happened right before the reaction. Don't think about what you did or what you said, just what happened right before that reaction took everything over. And here's the thing, most of us can tell the story of the reaction, right? Think about it for a second. If I asked you what happened during the argument, you could probably tell me every little detail. You could tell me who said what happened next, how it ended. But if I asked you what happened inside of you, especially 5 seconds before that started, most of us aren't really sure of that. And it's not because nothing happened. I think that's where everything happens. See, the thing is, it's really, 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 really fast. So by the time that it gets to your head, there's like not a chance of stopping it anymore. So that's why it's really important to start noticing this because once it gets to your head, you're already reacting. You're already in the reaction. When we start noticing the body, then you can take a breath. Then you can step away for a second. And you actually have a chance of not repeating the pattern again. And that realization really changed a lot for me because I used to think that the reaction was my problem. Of course, like, how is it not the problem? This is me getting angry and blowing up. Like, that's a problem. So I focused on fixing the reaction. That was where all my focus went. I need to not get angry. I need to figure this out. And I'd tell myself over and over again, next time, I'm not going to do that. But then the next time came and I did it again and again and again. So I started wondering, what if we're looking at the wrong place? See, what if that reaction isn't where the change happens? It happens a few minutes earlier. So I want you to go back to your workbook to the moment before, and we're going to slow this down for a minute. So go back to the situation that you've been thinking about. And this time, I don't want you to write about what you did. I want you to just get curious about what happened first. So we're just going to take a couple of minutes here. And I want you to see if you can think about what happened right before the reaction. Notice what you are feeling. What story did your brain immediately start telling you? As humans, we delete and distort a lot. We're famous for using words like always and never. And usually that's not the case. That's not what's actually true. So, what story did your brain start telling you? Remember, your body is going to notice before your mind does usually. So, what did your body want to do? And don't worry about getting any of it right. There's not a right answer here. We're just slowing this moment down enough so that you can see what you've been missing. I might give you like 2 minutes here to really think about that and write it down. So, you know what I really think is interesting? We didn't just have to spend an hour analyzing ourselves. We didn't have to go searching through our entire childhood. All we did was slow down one moment. And I bet if you really pay attention and look at what you wrote and look back at this later, you're going to see that you've actually figured out a lot. So I wonder how many of us would have told the exact same story yesterday. And then you wouldn't have even noticed at all what had happened the 5 seconds beforehand or what you felt in your body. That's the power of really slowing things down, even if you have to do it afterwards. The thing is, sometimes we don't need a brand new answer. Sometimes we just need to see something that we've been moving too fast to notice. And in the world that we live in, everything's faster. We want everything faster. Everyone wants us to move faster, get things done faster. It's hard to slow down and notice these things. But once you see it, you don't really unsee it. And it's it's really helpful if you let it be. It can also be really frustrating because then it's like, oh, you see these things now, and if you're not actually doing anything with it, it make you feel like shit. But yeah, so I don't think that the change starts with the reaction. Like I was saying, that's the way I used to feel, that I needed to fix the reaction, that I had to figure that out and change that. But I think it starts with the moment right before. That's where our answers lie. Because if we can learn to recognize that moment, then we start realizing something really, really important. We start realizing there actually was a choice there. And maybe at first it won't feel like it at all. At first, it'll probably still happen so fast that you won't actually have access to the choice. But it was there, and you can see that now. And just starting to see that a different option is there is a big start. And the more that you practice noticing that moment, the more available that choice is going to become to you. And to me, that's where self-trust actually starts growing. Self-trust isn't becoming someone who never reacts anymore or someone that always gets it right. It comes because little by little, you become someone who can actually stay present long enough to choose how you want to respond and show up how you want to show up. So, if there really is a moment before the reaction, why don't we just choose differently? Right? I mean, if we know now, why do we still do it? Just like with the awareness. And I think this is where a lot of people get really, really hard on themselves. Because, like I said, once you unsee it, you can't, or once you see it, you can't unsee it. So now we know that there is that moment before, but it still doesn't automatically make you able to choose differently. So that's frustrating still, right? Because you start thinking, again, I know better. I should have been able to handle that different. I've done all this work, so why do I still react like this? And then we start making it mean something about us again. We let it become our identity. We let it mean that we're failing or that we're not trying hard enough. And then it feels like all the healing work that we did is for nothing sometimes. So I want to give you another way that you can look at it. I don't think that it's because you don't know better, obviously. It's because your survival self still got there first. And that's not because you were weak or not because you're broken or because all of the healing that you've been doing isn't working. It's because of it being the path that you practice the most. Like Darlene was talking about with what's familiar. That's what we go to first. When life starts feeling overwhelming, that's where we're going to go. That's what I've seen like in my own life and with everyone else. Our brains always go back to what feels the most familiar because that is what feels safe. So when you've lived in survival, you want safety. And another thing I really wanted to mention too is I've noticed that people really love saying just pause. I love just pause. But like realistically, how many people have told you how? People love to say just pause, but then leave it at that. Like, okay, I'd love to pause right now, but my heart is racing, my stomach is tied in knots, and my brain is already halfway through the argument that hasn't even started yet. So how the hell am I supposed to pause right now? So yeah, I've found that to be like really unhelpful a lot of times. So my question is always, okay, how? Because the answer isn't try harder. I also say that. I think what we actually need to do is build the ability to stay with ourselves. That's why I always talk about safety and capacity. That's where real change comes from. Even if it's just a tiny bit longer, that matters because the longer that we can start to stay present with ourselves, the more available that choice actually becomes. Right now, you don't feel safe showing up in a different way. When you learn to stay present with yourself and start feeling safe with that emotion, that other person can come out. And it's not because you became a different person. It's because you finally gave yourself enough space to choose to take off that mask, to let the person that's been underneath those survival spells come out. So instead of just talking about this, we're going to practice things that a thing I like to walk my clients through really quick. This is like my favorite exercise. So yeah, I call it the sovereign pause. And it's not magic. It doesn't just make uncomfortable situations automatically not be uncomfortable anymore, but it helps you to start practicing something different and start interrupting the pattern. And it's something that I use over and over again, and my clients really love too. So I'd love for you to just practice this with me really quick. Before we do, I want to say this real quick. I know Darlene mentioned something about this yesterday, but we're not going to choose the biggest, most painful thing that you've ever been through. You can use the same thing we've been working through, or you can pick something else. But this isn't about seeing how much you can handle. We're not trying to be the one that endures right now. This is about practicing a new skill. So just think of a moment from the past week, if you can, where you felt a little bit activated, whether it was a conversation or maybe a text someone sent or a boundary that wasn't respected, something that made you uncomfortable, but it still feels manageable to think about. Because you need to be able to stay present with yourself. That's the whole point of this. Okay. So once you have that moment, I want you to just let it come to your mind and you don't have to fix it. We're just noticing it. I want you to notice it exactly the way it happened. If it's easier for you, go ahead and close your eyes and just let that moment come back. Almost like you're watching a movie. You're not in that moment, you're just watching it, just noticing. Notice where you are. Notice who's there with you. Just let your mind really settle into that moment. And as you watch, I want you to just get curious. Start to notice what is happening inside of you. Don't overthink it, we're just noticing. There's something that I've learned is that our bodies notice what's happening before our minds have words for it. Maybe your chest feels tight or your stomach drops. Maybe you feel like you need to defend yourself all of a sudden or explain yourself. Maybe it feels like you need to shut down and shut everyone out. Whatever it is, don't judge it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to understand it. Just notice it. And let me tell you why we're doing this real quick. Because the chances are that you probably practiced that old response more times than you could ever count. So today, I'm just giving you a chance to practice something different. It's really hard to choose a different response if your nervous system never gets the chance to slow down first. Now I want you to take one slow, deep breath in through your nose. And then we're going to take an even slower exhale out through your mouth. And we're going to do that again. Slow, deep inhale, longer exhale. And this is really important because the slow exhale being longer out, that automatically signals to your brain that you're safer. And that's like a science thing. It calms your nervous system down. It definitely doesn't make you perfectly safe, but just safe enough to stay. And we're going to take another deep breath here. And while you're breathing, I want you to just remind yourself, I'm safe. Remind yourself that it's safe to feel what you're feeling. Most people have never told themselves that before. And a lot of times when you've experienced trauma, when you're going into a reactive state, it's partially because you're going back to what happened. So telling yourself you're safe helps bring you back to this moment. And just notice if that feels any different at all. Maybe you feel 5 to 10% safer after telling yourself that it's safe to feel that way. That's all we're trying to do. You don't need to make it 100% safe. Just a little more space. It's a little bit safer than it was a minute ago. We're not trying to ever make the feeling completely disappear. Sometimes we need to feel those feelings. They're guides. You're just teaching yourself that you don't have to abandon yourself when those feelings come up. It's very human for us to avoid being uncomfortable and pain. But every time you stay, every time you're able to take an extra breath, You're teaching your nervous system that you can handle all of these moments differently. And now, once you've slowed things down just a little bit and you've made it feel just a tiny bit safer, I want you to ask yourself, if my sovereign self were leading right now, what's one small thing I would do? If you showed up as your sovereign self in that moment, what would she do? Not the perfect thing, not the whole conversation, just one small thing. And don't rush to figure this out. Just notice what naturally feels different. Notice how she would want to show up. Maybe it's even in something that you don't say. Maybe it's just the fact that you stayed with yourself at all. Whatever it is for you, just know that that's enough. Right? And when you're ready, you can come back to this present moment. And that's it. And you can do that in like a way shorter way too, to like, I like to tell my clients to use this throughout their life. When you react a lot in situations, use that exercise and go back and revisit that moment and slow it down a little bit. Allow yourself to feel a little bit safer. That way, the next time that moment comes up, you can stay more present. And also, I used to just do it with making it feel safer, but then I added that second part because the thing is, your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a very vivid imagination with emotion attached to it and what actually happens. So when we're visualizing ourselves showing up as our sovereign self, we're showing our brain that that person already exists, that is already there, and that a new pattern can be followed, that we don't have to follow the same thing. We're creating that familiarity without the thing actually having to happen. And that's a really good way to start building safety and capacity. That's why I love that exercise so much. And you never have to get it perfect. It's all about practice. So, yeah, just making yourself feel safer and allowing yourself to know there's a different response can go really, really far and help something else feel familiar for you. But yeah, you don't have to become someone completely different and go digging through every bit of your childhood to start changing things. A lot of it is actually really, really small things that we can start shifting, working on a daily basis, just one way to show up as the version of yourself that you want to be. That's all it takes. And I really love that because I think sometimes we believe that change has to look like really crazy dramatic. But if you've ever learned to play an instrument or drive a car or cook a complicated dish or something like that, that's not actually how it works. That's what I try to tell my kids all the time. They're like, oh, I want to be good at this. And they expect overnight they're just going to be skilled at this. And I'm like, no, I don't care if you're looking like the top pro in that thing in the world. They practice. They had to learn the thing. They didn't just overnight become good at it. It takes one repetition at a time. And then eventually what once felt impossible starts feeling familiar. Just like my driving story yesterday. Eventually, you're driving home and you don't even know how you got there. I don't know how healthy that is of us, but it happens. But yeah, I don't think that we become that sovereign version of ourselves by making one big decision. We build it. And do that by making one small choice at a time and practicing it over and over and over again. So, yeah, that's how we're going to really make changes and really start healing. And I really think that's what self-trust is too. I keep hearing self-trust defined really, really wrong, in my opinion, really, really wrong. Because it's not confidence and it's not always having the right answer. I've also heard people say it's intuition, which intuition is really wonderful. But if you don't have self-trust, you don't trust that intuition. I've seen a lot of people that thought they had really, really wonderful intuition end up like in the same really, really shitty patterns over and over again because they were actually just kind of listening to something else going on in there and not actually trusting their inner compass. When you have self-trust, see, I heard something. He was talking about intuition. I was talking about how intuition should never create like stress and anxiety. Like it shouldn't create this thing where you're like, oh, I've got to go make a pro and con list now. I've got to figure this out. It should bring clarity. So if that's not happening, then there's something going on. And usually we can't trust our intuition without self-trust because then we're questioning. We don't know if we can actually trust it or not. Is that the intuition or am I thinking something in my head? So I think it's really two very, very different things. It's not never getting triggered. To me, self-trust is knowing that even when life gets hard, that I can come back to myself. It doesn't always happen perfectly. And, every single time I don't show up how I want to. I still have times where I react, but it happens more often than it did before. And every time I do, I get to prove to myself that I have more choice than I used to, that I don't have to be that same version of me that I was before. And I don't know about you, but I think that that is a really, really incredible thing. And that if all it takes is practicing that every day, that's a pretty good trade. Like all we have to do is practice and literally everything gets easier. Okay, I'm down for that. And another thing too is I think sovereignty really looks like not controlling the situations. That is such a big problem that we have today. We want to control everything. And in this spiritual world, I feel like so many people define sovereignty or like being healed or whatever you want to call it as not ever struggling, like not struggling to show up as the person that you want to be or anything like that. And I don't think that's true at all. It's really about learning to lead yourself. We do that one choice and one moment at a time. It doesn't come overnight. It doesn't, I don't think it magically ever ends either. Like this is a journey we're on that we're constantly building safety and capacity. So, anyway, before we wrap up, I don't want you leaving here thinking that you have to remember all of the stuff that we talked about today. Really, I hope you don't, because like if you're just trying to memorize, that's not going to actually help you make that much change. The point wasn't for you to just remember a bunch of things. Also, you have access to the replays for like a month. So you don't have to worry about remembering it all. You can come back to it all. Because I don't think that transformation comes from you hearing the perfect sentence one time or sitting through the perfect workshop. It comes from us actually practicing a different choice. And we do that one moment at a time. So between now and tomorrow, if you're coming to VIP, or just try this for the next week or next month. Don't try to be perfect at all. Don't try to catch every single pattern because they're going to come. Just try to start noticing the moment before. Focus on that tiny moment where everything starts speeding up. And sometimes you'll catch it, sometimes you won't. That's why we did that exercise. So you can take those moments and you can go back to them. And tomorrow we're going to go like way deeper with that exercise too. But either way, it doesn't matter if you catch it every single time. You're not going to. And that's okay. See, every time you notice it, you're strengthening something. You're building the ability to stay with yourself. You're building the ability to make a choice. And then over time, those moments will become you having choice more often than you don't. And then those choices really become a whole different way of living, a whole different reality. My life is crazy different from what it used to be, really. So, yeah. Anyway, if you are sitting there thinking, like, okay, I really don't know where to go from here, like, this was great, but how is this going to actually help moving forward? I get that because 2 days can really change how you see things and shift your perspective, but they don't actually help you, really change things moving forward entirely or really practice it. So that's why I created what I call the alchemy shift. And I also created like a founding member experience because it's new. So I really wanted to make sure that this wasn't just another course that you would go through because I don't think that's really what people need these days. So this is actually a guided experience. And in this, we'll continue practicing everything that we've been talking about over these past couple of days. Um, you get the modules 1 week at a time. There's a couple of different videos. The videos are never more than 20 minutes long. But yeah, we go through it all one lesson at a time, one choice at a time, because that's how we actually start building self-trust. So as a founding member, you have lifetime access to the program and any future updates that'll be done to it. And then also one thing that you'll get for being a founding member that everyone else won't get is that you'll get the group coaching calls that happen bi-weekly for as long as they happen, which will be forever because it's going to be in my school community. So that's just like a never ending thing. So usually like after the founding member thing ends, people will get like 8 weeks of the coaching and then that'll be it. I might do 10. But if you do this, you get it forever. So yeah, I don't want people to just understand this stuff. I want people to actually start living it and practicing it because I know what it's like to be hopeless and basically hate yourself and be destroying your relationships. And like I have my kids basically hated me for a little while and I completely understand why. And I didn't want to be that person. So I get it. And I know how much it sucks. And that is why I do this now because I want other people to be able to experience that transformation too. So also, maybe you're listening thinking that you really don't even know what your next step is yet, and that's okay too. And that's one of the reasons that I love having my free complimentary calls. I call them alchemy calls because I just love alchemy. But yeah, just like Darlene was saying, it's not a sales call. I'm not here to try to convince you to come do my thing. This is really more about having an honest conversation that can bring you more clarity than you trying to figure this all out on your own. And we'll just talk about where you are and what you've been noticing and have a real conversation and figure out what can help you, whether that's working with me or not. I'm going to actually give you something that can help you either way. Because I have spent so many times on calls with coaches where it's like, I'll tell them up front, like, I'm not trying to invest in something right now. And they're like, okay, that's cool. It's fine. Let's just get on a call and talk. I'll see what I can do to help you out. And then they just want to offer me their thing. That's really frustrating. So I don't want to do that, people. So this is legitimately about being helpful. And then if you're interested in what I'm doing, we can talk about that too. But I'm here to help first. But also, I know that sometimes one conversation is all you really need to see something. Sometimes we're too close to it and we need just like a different perspective to try to notice something else. So definitely just book a call with me. I do not have my link handy. I was not smart about that, like Darlene, but I'll definitely send it out in an email later along with Darlene so that you can access that. And I'm sure Miranda has a link like that as well that we can send out. So yeah, and before I finish, if you haven't signed up for VIP yet, you should do it. It's going to be really, really amazing. Y'all saw what Miranda did today, and Miranda's journeys are always incredible. I've done one of the intuitive programs she's had with, I did the last one she did with all the shadows. So her journeys are always different every single time. You saw what we did with Darlene today, and hers are always really unique. I always get some really surprising insights from that. And then what I did today, we're going to go way, way deeper with that. I'm going to use some of my NLP and hypnosis skills mixed in there to really shift some things for you. So yeah, we're going to like really practice and embody this stuff tomorrow so that your brain, your body, and your nervous system and your soul can all feel this stuff and get a chance to experience something different together. And this is really going to go way, way deeper than what we did today. So if you haven't upgraded yet, there's still time. I'm really honestly, I haven't mentioned this to Darlene and Miranda yet, but I'm sure they won't care. Like, I'm probably just going to leave the VIP open because if they want to buy it later and just get the replays, that's cool too. So
Good.
at least until now, you have until right before to buy it. But yeah. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Miranda and Darlene, for doing this with me again. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for being willing to get curious instead of just immediately jumping to judging yourself. That's not always an easy thing to do. This isn't easy work. It's not easy to take the mask off and look at what's underneath it. And think about like when you've been wearing a Halloween mask, right? Sometimes it's like really icky and stinky under there afterward. Like if you've got kids and they're wearing a ball cap, think about that. You know, it's not always pretty to take these masks off and look at first. So I just want to say thank you for having the courage and giving yourself the chance to do that. Because we've been looking at a lot and that's not easy. But remember, you're not your patterns. You're not the survival spells that you learned, and you're not broken. They're just ways that you learn to protect yourself. And if you learn that, then you can learn something completely different too. So don't try to change it all. Just start noticing and notice that you can change it and do something different too. All right, that is it. I will stop this recording.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Yeah, okay.
We're still under 3 hours. Perfect.
Yes, awesome. Great. I'm tired. Ugh,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah, that just made me really tired. Oh, let me stop this live stream.